Happy Friday afternoon, Highlands community. I'm looking forward to Sunday and sharing communion with you on Sunday and sharing a time of worship. I've been thinking about some of my favorite meals. And I wanted to tell you about one of Trina and my favorite ways of sharing a meal together. Sometimes the kids are away and sometimes it just ends up being the two of us, and one of our favorite things to do in those moments is to keep it simple, to simply get a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine and some really nice cheese and sit down and share. Sometimes we'll add some grapes or some prosciutto or some olives to the meal, but we keep it simple and we keep it really good quality. And we'll sit down, find a place to sit, and just let time go lightly in the sharing of a simple meal. There was a time a couple of years ago when we did this. We had gone to Europe on the 75th anniversary of the Dieppe raid, and we went to the little town of Dieppe on the coast of France. And we went there because Trina's dad, 75 years previous, had been in that raid and was taken prisoner of war and had been a prisoner of war for 2.5 to 3 years. And so we were part of the commemoration of that time, and it was a really poignant weekend. And at the end of the weekend, for lunch before we left, we got ourselves a really good loaf of bread and a nice bottle of Bordeaux wine and some good cheese. And we sat up above on the cliffs, above the beautiful beach of Dieppe and across the sea, and leaned up against an old dilapidated German bunker and simply shared one of those really lovely, simple meals together. And I will always remember it. I wonder if you have any simple meals that you can remember that still remain kind of alive for you in your memory. We will share another simple meal on Sunday, our communion meal. And it's going to be odd because we're sharing it together separately. We're getting used to these kinds of things in COVID-19. We will remember another odd time when a meal was shared in the time just after Jesus had died and before they really knew what it all meant. There was some of them that were on their way home to a place called Emmaus, and he came to be with them, and they didn't recognize him. And it was only at the table at the end of the day when he broke bread that their eyes were open and they realized that, in fact, they were not alone, that he was with them. You know, there's a very small handful of practices that we have as followers of Jesus that bring him close, that make us, once again, co-conspirators with him in this time right now, in the loving of the world. A task that has no end, a task that sweeps us all up. And one of the small handfuls of practices that bring us into that way is breaking bread together. So I look forward to seeing you on Sunday and the opportunity to break the bread.